The Dearborn Independent, November 12, 1927, Volume 28, Number 4. Mr. Ford's page of the Dearborn Independent. Knowledge that comes from within. The wisdom of the world can be distilled into a few simple principles, and these principles are everlasting. They are fundamental, the fruits of the experience of all the generations that have ever lived. To be born with the power to recognize them or to achieve that power is to become wise. This power of understanding, of seeing, is one of the great forces in the world. With a nation, it is vital. Progress comes in proportion to the number of minds that see. The tremendous support which is won for great project comes not so much because the people are convinced by laborious arguments, but because with swift and accurate insight they are given understanding. The world seems running over with knowledge, and yet, when you take it all and reduce it to its essence, which is wisdom, you discover that there is a great deal of refuse. As tons of roses produced by little attar, so oceans of facts and centuries of experience seem to produce only a few simple principles. To be born with power to see these principles or to achieve a sight for them is to become wise. The world is much wiser than it knows, for although it is nearly alive to the lack of knowledge in many things, it does possess certain principles by which every kind of fact it may discover can be interpreted. How much of the essence of principle is distilled from experience, and how much of the essence of principles we innately possess to enable us to distill it all, forms an interesting subject for speculation. But it is always forced upon us that we are not quite new beginners where we seem visibly to begin, nor do we end where all trace of us seems to be lost. The chain of principle which binds us to reality seems to span with one link the period of human experience and stretch either way into distances that no one has measured. At the end of a recent biography, the subject tried to sum up what he had learned from life, and he was able to say it all in a half-dozen simple sentences. There was nothing startling in it, nothing that would evoke a thrill. But anyone who knows the experience of knowing a simple truth and seeing how the apparently simple things run pregnantly through all the planes of life, anyone having this experience will know that thrilling real such knowledge can be. It is not that the intellectual conception is new, but that the realization is new and vivid. It is like old familiar things seem under a light that penetrates and glorifies them. The purpose of life seems to be the accumulation of experience, and the greatest experience of all is to get vividly and realistically inside a principle. Perhaps this explains why people, as a rule, are impatient of the things they are merely told. It may explain the half-contempt of the boy for his father's counsel. It is happening in the world every day that full-grown men are suddenly exclaiming, "My father used to tell me that. By George, the old man was right." But the discovery is not made until the grown son has entered the serviceable temple of truth through the homely door of experience. And he will try to turn to tell his son, but his son may be stubborn too, and have to learn in the same belated way. Of course, some people do learn by merely being told. The instant they hear the principle proclaimed, they have no need of proof or any kind of confirmation. They just instantly know it is true. It is as if they had known it before but had forgotten, and the spoken word called to life again an element that was already there. This experience, too, has led man on many quests. How did we learn to know that was true which we only heard once with the ears? Whence came that inner recognition and full-fledged understanding of the instant of the message? Why were we able to see at once that others see with difficulty, and some seem never to see at all? Where did we originally learn that which we suddenly recall? Such questions cannot be avoided, and once these are admitted, others thrust themselves up. Can a man receive the results of experience as a gift? Does the natively gifted mind realize without intermediary experience what the other mind must receive through the sweat and grime of a life of experience, or have we prenatal past? However these problems may be regarded, it is certain that the world goes forward in proportions to the number of minds that see. There is a constant urge that the people think. Thinking becomes a grind unless there are facts to grind upon, or unless there is this background of principle through the medium of which all the elements of a problem can be related. Thinking may become a most desperate labor without the materials upon which thought can work. To think strenuously and never be able to see is but a process that wears down the resiliency of the mind. Until thought gets the wings of vision, it does treadmill work. Progress, especially that kind of progress which depends on the agreement of the people on some forward-looking idea, does not come by the efforts of man, but by the unfolding of that which seems to be dormant in the public mind. In dealing with great masses of people, the logical framework of an idea of public advance is often very slight, just enough to satisfy the faculties that no fallacy is being introduced. But the tremendous support which is won for justice or progress comes not because the people are laboriously convinced by argument, but because with swift and accurate insight they see.